Hey guys, this is Ryan from Convicted Printing. Thank you so much for checking out the Convicted podcast. I am really excited about this podcast because my goal with this is to be interviewing a bunch of different bands that have had a lot of experiences, whether it be on tour, different things in the music industry, to be able to bring their stories to you so that you can hear their experiences, what they've done to get better, mistakes that they might have made as well, and how they overcame them. So I'm really excited to have this podcast because I really think this is going to help a lot of people who are in bands that want to take their band to the next level. So without further ado, the guy that we have on the podcast today, his name is Zach. He is from the band called Northwoods from Massachusetts. Let's check it out. Thanks. Slip through my fingers like water down the drain. All right. Nice to meet you, Zach. And you said you
Ryan.
Thank you, man. Which band are you from?
So I'm the vocalist of Northwoods.
Awesome. So yeah, could you go ahead and tell me a little bit about your story of Northwoods? Kind of like how did you guys start? How did you guys meet? How did you guys know, like, okay, we're a band, this is our name? Like, how did you start?
Absolutely. So I was actually the manager of a van store in Burlington, Massachusetts. And right around that time was both of our guitarists, Anthony and Nacho. They were both associates there part-time. And first I was talking with Anthony. We both had the same, musical interests. And we were like, we should, just make music sometimes. He's been looking for a band for God knows how long. And my other band before that just ended. So it was like perfect timing. We just kind of like meshed together and we got to writing.
Awesome.
And after that, we were just like, every band sounds better with, a rhythm and a lead guitar. So, Nacho mentioned one day that he played guitar and both of us just kind of like cornered him in the store. We're just like, dude, we need you. We watched like all of his old videos and like, dude shreds. He listens to Pink Floyd, Metallica, like all that stuff, and he just shreds. And we're like, we need you in our band.
And did he used to be in a band then?
So it's funny because actually he's from Spain,
okay.
And yeah, he has family and friends down there. So whenever he goes, he'll just like send us videos of him playing with like just a jam band of a bunch of people.
Awesome.
And they're super awesome. So it's nice, he wasn't necessarily like in a band, but he plays music with people all the time. So it just kind of like worked out. We weren't kind of stealing them from anyone.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, yeah, that makes it a lot better than feeling like you have to fight for some instrumentalist or whatever.
Yeah, I hate that.
So how long ago did you guys start?
So we started in mid 2016.
Okay.
And then we finally released our first EP, Ebb and Flow, the beginning of 2017.
Okay, awesome. And didn't you say, I think I heard you say that you're going to be releasing another one in the near future?
That we will. We actually just finished in the studio. Our last day was yesterday.
Awesome. Very good. That's a relieving feeling, like, oh, it's done. But then you go, oh, did we forget something?
Honestly. So, yeah, it was super funny that you bring that up, too, because, we started in the studio about like 3 months ago. And we've just been, back and forth, we finished everything finally. And then we did another 3 sessions of just going in and it's like, oh, this would sound cool if we did this instead of this, or like add some cool effects. And we finally yesterday was just like mixing. How does all the levels sound? And just going through everything and finally like bouncing every song and being like, that one's finally done. Like, this is it. Nothing left, where all the levels are perfect. Everything sounds good. We're ready.
Gotcha. That's like one of the hardest things about being a musician is like feeling like it's never done.
Absolutely.
You just kind of like decide.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have to leave it. Like it's as good as we're gonna get right now.
Yeah, that first EP, Ebb and Flow, like I listen back to that sometimes. I'm like, damn, like we sound so different, or like I sound so much better here. I would like, I hate going back and listening to things and being like, this wasn't done, but we released it. So
Yep.
this one I'm like super happy with. I think everything's perfect on it. And, I don't think I'm going to listen back and be like, oh, this could have been done differently.
Absolutely. I feel you, man. We've definitely felt the same way. So how long have you guys been touring?
So we started doing weekenders like probably the end of last year.
Okay.
First weekend run, we hit Maine, Vermont, like deep New Hampshire, because we're right on, like, I live right on the border of southern New Hampshire. And oh, she's waking up. Yeah, so we hit up all those states, and then we've slowly been hitting like Pennsylvania. We hit New Jersey a little bit, New York, and it's definitely great finally getting our music, slowly expanding outside of New England and just going a little bit further and further and further.
Definitely. Absolutely. So what would you say is your longest tour so far?
A week.
A week?
Yes. No, that was it. We just went all the way down the East Coast, and that was a fun time.
And how far south did you go?
Florida.
Okay, so you did end up in Florida?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, our first tours were up the East Coast from Florida up towards like North Carolina-ish. So definitely, I totally understand that. What would you say is something that helps you guys while you're on the road? Like helps you save money, helps you stay sane? Because sometimes
definitely.
it can be like really cramped. So
Yeah, no, definitely planning out everything, like every little aspect of what you're going to be eating. If you can bring food along with you, that goes a long way. I have a Planet Fitness black card, and that's incredible to help you. You can shower in there. You can bring one of the bandmates in there, and we can get some showers. Just thinking of every little thing that could go wrong, or every little thing that can hold you back, and just write it all down, get it all on paper, have a checklist. Did you bring the right amount of underwear? Do you have extra clothes? Where are you going to wash your clothes if possible? If you have friends somewhere, that's a great way to get a warm night's sleep.
definitely. Yeah, because you got to worry more about snow up where you are, right?
Yes.
Around the winter time.
It's funny that we did that, long stretch down the East Coast. We hit Florida, and I was like, man, this would have been better if we did it in the winter, because we could be going to warmer weather. But
right,
it is what it is. It was still a great time.
good. So what would you say is one of the best money-saving food thing that you got? Like for the band?
Probably sandwich stuff.
Yeah, like cold cuts?
Getting some cold cuts, cheese, some bread. You can go a little bit extra and get those condiments, mustard, pickles. But that was easily like the best, like most fulfilling and money saving things that we could possibly do.
Gotcha. So did you like bring a cooler inside? Did you have like a van, or what was your transportation?
So our guitarist Nacho, he has a very large, I forget what the model is, but it's a GMC SUV.
Okay.
And it's got 3 rows, so we're not all cramped in. You got the front and driver's side. The middle is safe space, so you're not cramped in the middle. And then I usually end up in the 3rd row, because I like to take the vlogs and whatnot, and then just having like my own little area.
Awesome.
I'm also the shortest one of the band, so.
Okay, that makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think you'd be able to send a picture of what that setup is like to me later? Awesome.
Yeah,
I would love to be able to put that in at least one of the posts and say, hey, this is kind of like a setup that they use.
Yeah, and then
awesome.
And then we bring a U-Haul trailer with us. It's like $20 a day.
Okay.
So it's not bad at all.
Right. So when you're on the road and you are trying to engage with audiences, like what do you do on stage and off stage to be able to like engage with people more?
Market yourself as much as possible. People say it's super corny to be wearing your own band merch, but if you're a local band who is playing out of state and they don't know who you are, if you just say your name once at the beginning of your set and be just like, hey, we're Northwoods, we're from Boston, Massachusetts, whether or not they liked you, like, the best way for them to know who you are is if you're, saying what your band, like, as many times as you can. So, I don't wear my own band merch, but I will gladly, say our name as much as possible when we're up there. We have a big flag, a big banner behind us that has our name and logo on it. And we're working on the centerpiece for the drum, like the bass head. And then, just, talking to as many people as you can. Otherwise, direct them to your merch table. After your set, go and talk to as many people as you can. You get some people that come up and talk to you. They'll always, say, hey, great set, that sounded awesome. But, engage more. Ask them what their favorite part of the set was. Ask them what if they can remember a favorite song. Just, make a friend out of that person, because they're way more interesting to you and are way more willing to, buy your product, buy a CD, a shirt or something, if you're actually engaging and making a friend and not just kind of playing it off just like, oh, thank you so much, I appreciate that, and then walk away.
Definitely.
Get their name, talk to them a little bit more, ask them who they're there to see, ask them where they're from, and just make some conversation. It'll be a lot more in depth and a way to get them to remember you. Just like, oh, if you come back around, oh, that was that guy that I talked to that time. He was super nice. Let's go see him again.
Definitely. And one thing that I like that you said was when you were asking them, like, hey, what's something that you liked about the set? Or what was your favorite song or whatever. What's really cool about that is because if you're open to critique, you might hear some different answers that you're not really expecting. So I really like that you want to engage about the set and then also not about the set, because no one wants to necessarily talk all about you or whatever. They want to talk about other stuff. So it's really good that you're asking questions about, like, who else are you here to see? That I ask that all the time when I'm at a show. Like, hey, who'd you come out for? And occasionally I have the show that they're like, everybody. I wanted to see everyone on this list, which is awesome. So that's really cool. I'm glad to hear that you guys are able to do that. And it sounds like you have really good branding when you have the stuff on the stage, like saying your name and all that stuff. That's really good.
Yeah, exactly. Because, the 20 minutes, if you're a band that no one knows yet, 20 minutes is very, very short amount of time to be able to make people say, hey, I want to listen to them more, or I want to get a shirt or something. So if you're making it, like, it's almost, think about it when you see a Coke commercial, all of a sudden you want a Coke. Like, that's 30 seconds, that commercial. So think of it that way. So, like, this is, 20 minutes for us to brand ourselves and get it in people's minds, like Northwoods or your band name. Definitely.
That's a really good way to put it. So when it comes to merch, because you mentioned about going over to the merch table, like, when it comes to merch, what merch seems to work best for you guys right now?
So right now we just have a few shirts up because we put a lot of money into the studio time. So now with this new EP coming out, we want to have some pretty impressive and pretty, in-depth stuff. So, we just look into what's trending at the time. Fanny packs. Fanny packs are very much in right now.
I like that. That's awesome.
So, we thought about, Northwoods fanny packs, beanies are super in, especially right now. It's getting colder out. And also at the end of the day, it's just, stuff that it may not necessarily say your band name, but it's something that people want to buy.
Right.
Because you have to think of it as, this is your life source to your band. This is the money that you could use to record. This is money that you could use to get more merch. Right. This is money that you can put into gear. So you got to think of stuff that, so you got to think of stuff that, people are going to want to buy. So if with us, we were thinking of just getting, even something as small as this, and have it be something that has to do with your band. So with us, we're Northwoods. We used to have a shirt that had just like a leaf, kind of just like this. So if you just get a plain shirt, embroider, or like just a small, symbol that's like a branch, and people say, they're just like, oh, that looks cool, and they just want to wear it. Then people ask, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, it's from this band Northwoods. And, it's stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's something that someone buys.
Definitely.
we think of like fun stuff where we've been working on a design where it's like the Rugrats logo, but inside it says Northwoods. Just kind of, just fun stuff like that. It doesn't have to be incredible, like, oh, this is the most hype beast kind of thing, or the most, in-depth kind of design, but just something that people would buy, because at the end of the day, that's your life source to the band.
Right. Because how do you feel when it comes to, because you're still you said you've only been on several tours, right? So it's not like a lot yet.
No.
When it comes to guarantees and merch, which one do you feel like you need to rely on more?
And in our stage, definitely the merch. With us, we're around that like $100-$150 mark for guarantees, which usually helps out with like gas and food and whatnot if you want to splurge one night. But the merch is definitely what helps out, because that's like that's also the marketing portion of it.
Right.
So you're getting a face-to-face time, as well as some money to help out with that. So I feel like I kind of rely on the merch more. It makes for more personal kind of contribute.
Gotcha. I think I would agree for us as well. So when it comes to after the shows, or after you come back from tour or whatever, so you're not playing shows right now, how do you market yourselves to reach out to more people? Like whenever you're not playing shows necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely. So I try and utilize social media as much as possible. It's very tough with today's algorithms, but the thing that I've gotten to take into consideration is, finding bands and like bigger bands, like say like Bring the Horizon or Architects, and getting to use their Instagram and Facebook times, because they have people who are on the back end, kind of seeing, oh, this is the time when people engage with the band the most.
Right, the insights.
They have people who are getting all of these statistics. We don't have that kind of thing. So I put on their post notifications, and I'll post at the same time as they do, and kind of use that to my effect.
Gotcha.
But another kind of piece that I use, is that face-to-face value. So I'll go to shows around here. I'll find big tours where there's going to be a lot of people, and just talk to people. I have to be confident in talking about us and be just like, hey, if you like this band, you should check out this band too. And I'm not that person who will kind of be just like, oh yeah, we kind of suck, but it'd be cool if you checked us out, but just, making more friends, and, not being afraid to talk about your band as well, because if they like this band, then, that we're going to go hand in hand. Right. I see myself on tour with this band one day, so I'll go to that show and be just like, hey, if you like them, you should check out this band too. And just show them, don't be afraid, because, you're just making friends. What's up?
Definitely. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you're not necessarily expecting something in return by any means.
Absolutely.
Like, that there's more of a chance if you're giving something to them, and then you're providing value for them without expectation. Some people are going to end up like reciprocating.
Yeah,
it's just bound
exactly.
to happen. Very good. So this one's a harder question. What would you say is the hardest thing that you've faced as a band, whether it be a mistake you've made or a goal that you had to achieve, and like how did you overcome that?
Absolutely. Hold on 1 second. What's up? You want to get up, huh? We got a special guest.
Band life, dad life.
Hey. Hello. Hello. You want to join in? Hello. So I would have to say our biggest mistake was trusting people. So I was really good friends, or so I thought, with this guy from Pennsylvania, and he was a photographer, and he talked about all these bands that he used to work with. He was like, oh, I used to work with like Paris and Grayscale and all these bands. And he was talking about how he wants to get back into shooting video. So he was like, hey, you know, you're about to put on these 2 new singles, On Lost and On Love. We were actually supposed to have videos out with each one of those songs. So he promised us, oh, like, I'm just starting back up, so I'll do them for super cheap. And we drove 7 hours to Pennsylvania, stayed at this dude's studio, and shot 2 music videos. We paid him. You know, it was cheap for music videos, but it was still money that, you know, we ended up losing at the end of the day. And we never saw those videos whatsoever.
You never got them back? It wasn't even bad quality. It was just you never got them.
So it was super funny. His girlfriend at the time was there with him, shoot as a second photographer, and pretty much, you know, we finally reached out to her, and apparently they had broken up. And we were like, hey, you know, we didn't get these videos. Is there any way you could help us out? And she said, oh, you know, I've never seen those videos. And it was super funny because when we first left, he had mentioned that she was helping to edit them. And she had mentioned that she had never even seen the footage. So she finally was able to find the raw footage, send it over to us. And dude, the footage was awful.
It was?
Like, it was unsturdy. It was just all over the place. That I'm a video editor, so I tried editing it. One of my friends tried editing it for free because he felt bad, and it was just no salvaging it. So
add shake effect to everything.
Yeah, you know. So don't try and cut corners. You know,
man.
Be wary about who you trust. Like, be sure that, you know, there's a portfolio with, if you're going to work with someone for videos or photos, audio, anything, you know, make sure that, you know, you talk, if it's someone that's like sort of local, and you don't really know them, be sure to, like, you know, reach out to other bands that you've known that have worked with them, or, you know, make sure that there's a portfolio to back them up, and don't cut corners. You know, you figure yourself as a business. We tried to save a few bucks and went with someone that we didn't really know, and we ended up losing that money. And yeah, we saved some money, but if we had just put the money out there and got something that was like actually, you know, worthwhile, it would have been worth it to spend the money rather than lose a little bit less money.
I feel you. That's rough, man.
Yeah, it's funny because once we started like putting it out there, more people have actually brought up that, you know, they know of him or have met him in person, and they all had the same things to say about their experiences with him as our experience.
Oh no.
Whether it be band or not, just him as a person. So, you know, be aware of who you work with.
Definitely. So did you end up refilming those 2 music videos, or did you just like move on to something else after that? Or
afterwards, we were waiting for a while. We actually delayed the release of those songs because we were waiting for the videos. So at the end of the day, we were just like, dude, we might as well just like put the songs out there. And, you know, we put them out. It still got a good response, but we never ended up refilming anything because we'd already lost so much money, you know, on recording, not losing money on recording, but we spent so much in recording the songs in general. And then the extra money that we put into videos that we never ended up getting, you know, we would have to put even more money into filming. And, you know, visuals are a good addition, but, you know, if you are on a budget, just try and focus on getting the songs out there and getting them to the right ears, because you can film again at any other point in time. It doesn't have to be with the release. It can be afterwards. And there's always going to be more songs, more videos to come. So definitely don't hound on yourself on one video if it doesn't fit your budget, or if it's not going to work with what you're doing at the time.
Right, and something that I'm glad to hear is that you guys didn't like give up at that. It's not
No,
like,
we
oh, we're just so down or whatever. You pushed through. You found
yeah,
something else. You kept moving forward.
and
You did something different.
absolutely, that actually can go into another piece if you don't mind me kind of moving,
Go for it,
keeping
man.
on that. We've found ourselves kind of in a little hole because we do find ourselves, man, this is taking so long. I feel like we're not doing anything at the time, or I feel like we're like there are other bands getting bigger than us when we've been a band longer. Um, we got ourselves in that mess, but it's all about persistency and staying consistent with what you're doing, because if we let ourselves get into a little bit of a hole with that and we kind of stayed stagnant after those two songs, and if who knows where we could have been if we kept pushing to play more, or we kept pushing to write more, rather than let ourselves kind of dig ourselves into a hole because of those two songs. So that kind of goes into what you were saying, just don't give up. And if you find yourself kind of getting into that little mental hole, just know that, your time will come as long as you stay consistent with it.
Definitely, consistency is key. You can't stop.
Yeah.
Same thing
You
with the
can't.
marketing thing that you're talking about with like the social media marketing. You can't stop because otherwise it just dries up
Yeah,
so quick.
exactly. Like if you're not staying consistent on that, people like, in a sense, not to sound rude or anything, but like people will forget if like
Yeah.
you're still
Well, I
a
mean, they
local.
got their own lives, right? I mean, like
Exactly.
everyone forgets all the time. That's why there's top of mind advertising is what it's called.
Yep.
That's why there's all those commercials. That's why you keep seeing Coke and Pepsi and all this other stuff like all the time because
Yep.
they know that in order for you to remember, because you got stuff going on, they're going to keep saying, "Hey, don't forget about us. Hey,
Yeah.
don't forget about us. Hey."
Especially if you're a local band, you got to put your name out there, and if you just kind of throw it out there and see who does with it, like just do with whatever you will with this, like nothing's gonna stick unless like you got something huge, you got like the best song
uh,
that plays on the radio. Like I don't know, it's just you gotta keep pushing for it. You can't just
right, and
throw
the
it out there and let people do with what they will.
and like the only way to come across that song that's going to stand out is by continually making those songs, continually
Yes,
making songs, and then like at some point maybe one of them is going to stand out and really just like take off because
exactly.
some reason. And the friends that you're making at the shows, you're going to keep communicating with them, and then maybe share that song with them, and then they're going to share it to someone that you didn't even know they knew, that's higher up in something, and somehow that gets
Yeah,
shared more. I mean, it pays to be genuine and kind, like not with expecting someone to ever give it back to you, but being genuine and kind, making those friends,
exactly.
and continually being consistent with making and passing along that music. That's
Yeah.
good. So, what's something that you wish you knew sooner as a band?
Um, that's a good question, actually. Um, Something that I wish that we knew sooner would probably have to be, not that we didn't know it, but I feel like that consistency is a good, like, we don't, not to be like lazy and to treat the band as a business, because in a sense it is like, there's money coming in and out of it. You have to spend some money to make some back, and not like, you can get very lucky and get some stuff either for free or for cheap, but the best stuff is going to come, like, you're going to get the value out of it if you put the value behind it. So we did kind of try and cut corners with those music videos, but if we just went to someone that we know it does great work and spend a little extra, we would have got what we needed out of it.
Definitely.
But if you treat the band like a business and stay consistent with it, and kind of keep track of what you're doing and have goals, and work towards them, it's just like everyday life. The band is really no different than the business that you walk by on the street every day. There's expenses that go behind it, there are certain, you getting excited there? There are expenses that go behind it. There are a lot that goes into it, and you got to keep track of it. And I feel like if we kind of stayed consistent with all of those things, then, we could be even further than we are now. But that's not something that I hold back. I kind of look back and say, okay, what could we have done differently? And kind of work off of that, look back on that, find those mistakes, take them out, because there could be some stuff that you were doing right there, but it didn't work well with the other aspects to it. And, put forth that plan instead.
Definitely. Gotta always keep improving.
Yes.
For sure. So off the top of your head, what is an artist you've been listening to? Doesn't matter what genre it is. Just what's an artist you've been listening to lately?
Ooh. He's like an emo rapper, kind of like Nothing Nowhere. His name's Sully.
Sully.
Yes.
I feel like I've heard the name come up.
If you know the band,
or maybe I'm thinking of Monsters Inc.
His old band was Crooks.
Okay.
And that's what actually got me into making the kind of music that we make now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how would you describe your music, by the way?
Oh God. I'll take a fun one and then a serious one. So
okay.
Someone asked what genre we were, and I was like, we're like post-hardcore, like melodic post-hardcore. Think of a less talented Dance Gavin Dance.
Okay.
But a more aggressive Emarosa.
Awesome. Very good. So you said Sully and his old man was Crooks. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. He's a British emo rapper, and his voice is beautiful. He has kind of like a backstory to all of his songs. And his lyrics are just like intense. It really gets you into the feels.
All right. I think I prefer that more. I like deeper message lyrics personally.
As much as I love Dance Gavin Dance, their lyrics are very, very interesting. I remember off of their old album Instant Gratification, the first song in the album, there was lyrics that was riding a rhino pico de gallo.
Oh my god.
And it came out right before the holidays, and pretty much they actually had a limited time Christmas gift that was riding a rhino pico de gallo.
Really?
They made salsa, and
oh man,
I actually ended up getting it for Christmas because my girlfriend at the time knew I loved Dance Gavin Dance so much, and she was just like, they made this a thing.
Oh my gosh.
It's fun stuff like that people will buy because it's just like fun memorabilia, like paraphernalia, and that's extra money that can come into the band.
Definitely.
What's up?
She's so cute.
Thank you.
At first, when you grabbed the binky and you started putting it towards your mouth, I was like, "That's not for you, is it?" Like, no. I mean, everyone has their thing, but like, awesome. So I got one more question for you. I wanted to ask, and feel free to take your time on this one. So, what would you say you and the other guys in the band are passionate about? Like, as the band, what are you passionate about?
We're passionate about, I can come right back at you with it. We're super passionate about just making connections with people. A lot of the lyrics that I write, their personal experiences and either struggles or just things that I've gone through in life that, if you can make a connection with someone through that. Our song 1/1/2011 in particular, it's the first song on the Ebb and Flow EP. I kind of go into a storytelling of what the song's about, and it's just a really difficult time in my life, and I get people all the time that come up to me afterwards and it's like, that last song really hit, like I felt the emotion behind it. I was able to relate, and at the end of the day, it's just a lot easier to connect with people, and you can make friends, you can get listeners if they can connect with you through that music. So it goes a long way. You meet a lot of people and can make friends and get more people listening to your music if they actually, feel that connection from what you're playing and what you're making.
Right. That's definitely awesome. I'm glad to hear that you want to connect with everybody.
Yeah.
What I don't understand when it comes to the connection thing with bands is like there's been plenty of times where like there's been touring acts and I feel like I don't see them except for on stage.
Yeah. So I work a lot with the Palladium in Worcester, and I meet a lot of bands, and they sort of just, and I know it's probably like an exhausting life. You're on the road 24/7. Then you got to play a 45 minutes to an hour and a half long set. But yeah, they really do just kind of, they come in, they go to their dressing room or they go to their room, and then they play their set. And like every now and then we'll see some of them, if not all of them. I'll see some of them at the merch table, but other than that, they're just sort of in their dressing rooms
or in their RVs.
Yeah, or in their or on their bus. And it's kind of sad, but like I said, I sort of understand because it must be exhausting, but I feel a lot better, and I feel like we get a lot more of a genuine reaction if we're there talking with the people and actually connecting with them, rather than here's our set, here's our songs, and then just bye.
Right. I don't know, like maybe it's just because like we've been in the grind for so long, like that we need to meet all these people all the time. Like I wonder how we'll feel when, like, if we're able to get to the point where we are marketed by other people, like a management or a label or whatever. I wonder how that will be different. I wonder if they actually aren't allowed to, because like we just recently played a show with Devil Wears Prada, and they had a meet and greet. So I'm wondering, like, is there something in their job description that says, "Hey, we sell meet and greets. You can't just be in there," because I'm guessing that might happen too.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be something with the label. Yeah, that's definitely true, but I don't know. I just feel like, because then when you think about it too, the meet and greet portion is something that the person's paying for.
Right.
So, like, yeah, they still might be super nice people, but like at the end of the day, that's just a photo and maybe like a 30-second conversation, rather than like an actual like genuine conversation with them, getting to talk with them. So it's still something that the person pays for. It's not just an in-person reaction like, "Hey, how's it going? Let's have a conversation." What are you doing?
She's trying to contribute, man. She's trying to make connections. You were just Dad's telling her to make connections. She's trying to make connections.
Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, so Zach, where can people find you? What would you like most from people? Would you like follow us on Spotify, or like where can people find you the most?
Yeah, definitely. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Music, every major streaming platform. We are on there. Northwoods. We have Ebb and Flow and On Loss and On Love right now. Gotcha. And we have an EP coming out early of next year. We're on Instagram as Northwoods Band. And we are on Facebook, Northwoods Band, because there is a folk band called Northwoods actually. And
okay.
It's super funny to go off of that. We've had messages on Facebook of people like asking to come play a wedding.
Really?
And then we look at where they're from, and they're from where that folk band is. And I'm like, gotcha. Oh yeah, but you're not looking for us. Sorry.
All right, just making sure. I don't think this is you. Northwoods Band. I can't see if it.
Yep, that's us.
That's you?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm just putting that in there for camera, letting it focus on it.
Absolutely.
Sweet. And I followed. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You just got another follower, and hopefully you'll get some more from this too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes, thank you so much for being here on the podcast and sharing your information with everybody. I really think this is going to help some people with some things that they're considering in their band and things that they can do to get better too. So awesome.
These are definitely things that I've learned and come across from the experience, because I've been making music since I was 14, and these are just kind of like trial and error. That's what it kind of comes down to. But you'll find what works best for you guys as a band, and it'll all come together full circle. But just take into consideration what is working, and don't be afraid to throw out what seems to be a great idea that's just not working.
Right.
But yeah, these are definitely things that I wish that I knew when I was first starting out, but I'm happy that I know now.
Good. And I'm happy that you're willing to share it with others so that they can add it into their tool belt, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Zach. It was great meeting you, man.
It was great meeting you too. Thank you for, letting Luna come in too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Luna. You were such a contribution to everything that we were doing. All right. Thanks, Zach. See you next time.
Absolutely. It was great talking with you.
Bye.
Please don't turn your back on
Hey guys, just want to say a huge thank you for checking out the podcast. Please look up and give some love to Northwoods. Check out their handle, Northwoods Band. And you can find them on Instagram, on Facebook, on Spotify. I'm sure you can find their music on YouTube and other places that you would look. And also, please stay tuned for the next podcast that we're going to be having coming out. We're going to be interviewing more bands and having more experiences shared, and hopefully be able to help you as a band be able to progress and move on to that next level that you want to reach. If you are in a band and your experience and you'd like to share your experience with others, please fill out our form at convictedprinting.com/podcast to apply, and we'll be reaching out to you. Thanks again so much.